Gold and silver keep pumping endlessly. Bitcoin, well, keeps bouncing off the 89,000 US dollar mark. Tomorrow, the Fed interest rate decision is already coming up. And yes, the problems are still the same as always. And with that, welcome to a new crypto update video. Bitcoin at 88,400 US dollars. Yeah, somehow there still isn't really any real momentum at the moment. Volume is pretty down. We're ranging quite a lot. Funding is still relatively high. So the funding rates are relatively high. The altcoin market, yeah, some are pumping, some aren't. Somehow, it's pretty dead in crypto at the moment. Still, a lot is happening in the background that we definitely need to talk about. So make sure to stick around until the end. And a quick reminder, tonight at 7 p.m. there's another live stream where we'll take a calm, detailed look at everything. Before we get started, as always, feel free to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, join the free Telegram Talk and Signal group. If you're interested in updates, news, and signals, feel free to join. You'll find the link for that for free down in the video description. And if you're still looking for an exchange where you can trade all of this, feel free to sign up with my partner exchange, WEEX. There, you can trade crypto, forex, stocks, pretty much anything. Everything we always discuss here in the videos, and right now there's also a cool New Year's promotion, so definitely check it out. Alright, let's get started. Bitcoin, $88,400. Let's quickly switch to the 1 hour time frame. There, we can see a bit more. So, what do we see there? That we've simply picked up the liquidity above these highs here again. And that means, once again, a textbook liquidity swap. In terms of volume, yes, we had a brief spike, but that was pretty much it. That means we've already taken the liquidity above this high again and have initially failed to form a higher high here. That's not exactly what we actually want to see. At the same time, if we just look at the overall market, stocks are primed to extend the rally, yen edges lower, markets rep. So the yen, MMH, is pulling back a bit, which also gives me a bit more cause for concern. This whole story with the Fed, we already talked about it in detail yesterday, and we'll also discuss it again in detail during the live stream this evening. In short, the US buys yen so that the Japanese somehow don't have to sell government bonds, but at some point they still have to sell government bonds, meaning US treasuries. And it's kind of a cycle, and if we just quickly look at the numbers, where do I have them? Where do I have them? Here they are. The treasury bills held by the Federal Reserve have skyrocketed from $195 billion to $258 billion in the last 5 weeks. There you can see all the crap that's currently going on at the Fed and how the whole thing is probably also somewhat connected to Japan. In any case, if we take a quick look over at Japan, we see, okay, the 10-year bond markets are already rising significantly again. We were at 2.2. Now we're already at 2.28. Okay, the 20-year bonds have dropped to 3.2, and the 30-year bonds are also slowly rising again to 3.6. Meanwhile, the US government bonds are also still at a very, very high level. That means the panic, or rather the uncertainty in the market, just hasn't gone away yet, and the yen has suddenly stopped pumping in any way. For me, that's still a sign. The whole issue isn't over yet. Especially since tomorrow is the Fed interest rate decision. If Powell should make any kind of hawkish statement there, in other words, a bearish statement that we won't be getting any interest rate cuts in the coming months, which currently doesn't look likely, well, then good night. Because then you'll have the next mess brewing, and Powell will probably also be blamed for something else that Trump comes up with. Maybe he'll invade Iran and say, Powell, that's why, because we didn't have to cut interest rates. We had to get cheap money from Iran now. Who knows? You know this is all just for fun, but you definitely get what I'm trying to say. In any case, Bitcoin is consolidating. If we go by the heat map, we still have a larger cluster, or actually the largest cluster at the moment, at $91,300. Let's move up one time frame again, that is to the monthly time frame. Just so we have the big picture in the chart again, we can see that we've left a bigger chunk down at 85,000 US dollars. We'll remove the small orders again, and then we can also see that there's another chunk sitting at around 72K. So technically speaking, nothing has really changed at all, except that spot sales have, of course, increased significantly again as prices rise, but nothing earth-shattering. That means the market is waiting for a specific situation. Either we manage to form a higher high here, above $88,900, finally, or the market does a complete turnaround and really drops towards, let's say, 85 to 83,000 US dollars. Personally, I would still prefer if we could pick up the liquidity in this area and then either completely crash or, down here, somehow give hope that we might make it back up. That remains to be seen. At the moment, I'm still more on the bearish side and think the market will continue to go down, especially when we, as we'll discuss in a moment, take a look at gold and silver, of course. Let's move over to Ethereum. What is Ethereum going? Ethereum is down, so not much is really happening there either. The altcoin market is, pretty down at the moment. Solana, yeah, has recovered from its lows once again. Hey, cool, but it's nothing really spectacular. We can pull up our fib level here again, from our top down to our bottom. Accordingly, Solana would have room to go up to $133 or even $137. We'll have to see if we even get that high, because as soon as Bitcoin even thinks about a turnaround, or if any cheap crappy news comes out, like tariffs, like last night again, tariffs that, Trump is putting tariffs on, I think, South Korea. Yeah, the Orange Wizard is on the move. He just does whatever he feels like, at any time of day. So we'll just have to wait and see for now. So, I'm still staying away from altcoins at the moment. The only thing that suddenly pumped overnight, hype. No idea why. I couldn't find anything. Feel free to let me know if you find anything. Maybe some bigger whale was liquidated again or something. No idea. But one has to say, hype has one advantage. Let's draw a line here. This is the wick from October 10th. It was filled on January 21st. Remember what I've always said, the wicks need to be filled with altcoins. Only then can we talk about potential soil formations. With hype, it pulled in and the market initially turned upwards. Still needs to be watched, but first good move, but we've seen that recently with many other altcoins. Let's move on to the traditional markets. Gold. Gold is still spectacularly high, and yesterday it just hit $5,100. Then there was a brief dip downwards. Then yesterday evening it was just below $5,000 per ounce, like a retest of that $5,000 mark. The market immediately shot back up. Same with silver. For a short time yesterday, silver looked like some kind of shitcoin. Briefly went towards $118, then within a very short time just crashed 13.5% in 3 hours and immediately recovered. So apparently, a lot of leveraged positions are being flushed out at the moment as well. So just be careful there. Please, still try not to short this thing. Neither gold nor silver. Keep your hands off it and you'll be fine. And we'll see about the rest. Let's move on to the stock markets, or rather, to the forex charts. US dollar to Japanese yen, is slowly starting to form a bit of a bottom here, so it's at least aligning a little with the fractal here. If we see, okay, last time there was a smaller consolidation here, then we can assume, okay, we're somewhere in this area here. Then that would roughly fit again. We have to watch whether all of this was just because, the US bought yen, which is what I currently assume, and that the whole intervention story hasn't even happened yet. If that's the case, we're in for trouble anyway, and then this thing will drop like a stone even further. Take profit one and that's it, just let it run. Euro, on the other hand, also seems to have topped out for now, back at 1.19, where we were before. When was that? September 18th. Back at the same point, we need to get past that, and then we could rise towards 1.20 or even 1.21. I'm not long. Like I said, I was a bit too cautious, I have to admit, that I didn't get back in on the retest. But well, that's how it is. Maybe some of you got in, so now definitely take some profit here, and the next one would be up here in this green box. Alright, then the traditional markets. DAX, still on its way up to point B, so also in terms of our short position. That's still running, of course. We would have taken profit one down here. Maybe in the future I should just add some small lines with take profit points, right? So that we just know, okay, take profit here, and in any case, the B wave is still going. Dow Jones still heading towards all-time high levels, but you see what I'm getting at. Or rather, let's quickly switch to the daily time frame. I keep saying, the volume is just too low. Look at this. Just this candle yesterday alone, that's not what we want to see. Clearly below average. Nasdaq, same story. Pump, liquidity grabbed, again below average. S&P 500, wow, it looks just as awful. Near all-time high, no volume in it. Russell 2, look at that, that's nothing. Be careful, still be cautious. To me, this still all looks like exit liquidity, with prices being pumped up so that retail investors think, okay, awesome, 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 it's just going to keep going up, only for the prices to completely roll over afterwards. Like I said, all the news is out there. So, it's just that one trigger missing, the one I've been talking about for weeks, and we're so close to finally having that trigger pulled. Next, the volatility index, finally, is still at 18. Looks a bit topped out for the first time, so we shouldn't expect much there for now. Other than that, there are still a few earnings reports coming up this week. I wanted to mention again, as I forgot yesterday, there are a few reports coming. I think Microsoft, if I'm not mistaken, is reporting tomorrow, for example. I think Meta as well. Right, Meta as well. So the Magnificent Seven are slowly starting with their earnings now. So please keep an eye on that as well. Alright, then I'd say that's it from my side for now. Thank you for watching. As always, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. We'll catch up again tonight at 7 p.m. on the channel for a fresh live stream. And otherwise, I wish you all a wonderful, relaxing day. Until then, ciao ciao, and as always, stay safe.